In our previous videos, we went over how to add fractions with like denominators and fractions with different denominators. Today, we're going to look at how to add mixed numbers. Let's first review what a mixed number is. A mixed number is a math expression shown by a whole number plus a proper fraction. So the mixed number of 3½ means 3 wholes plus 1/2 of another whole. Let's look at a simple example first. 1 plus 1½ This is adding a whole number plus a mixed number. But you can think about it this way. 1 plus 1 plus 1/2. Because the mixed number of 1½ is the same thing as being 1 plus 1/2. You would then be able to say 1 plus 1 plus 1/2 equals 2½. But what if we had a problem like this, where we had a mixed number and a proper fraction? 1⅓ plus 1/3. Looking at it in a picture format, we can see that we have 1 whole plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals 1 plus 2/3. Did you notice anything in the past two examples when we started adding these fractions? We added the whole numbers to the whole numbers and the fractions to the fractions. When adding mixed numbers to mixed numbers, you can always think about the steps this way. Add the whole numbers first, add the proper fractions next, you may have to convert them to equivalent fractions, and then simplify. Let's walk through several examples to make sure you have a good handle on this. Let's start with a simple problem and then add some complexity as we go. Take the first one, 2⅓ plus 1⅓. We can actually write this problem very similar to how we write other addition problems. We can write it down vertically by lining up our whole numbers and lining up our proper fractions. We can add the whole numbers first and get a total of 3. We can add 1/3 to 1/3 and get 2/3. Remember from our previous videos, when the denominators are the same, we can simply add the numerator. Our answer is 3 2/3. It's in its simplest form, so we're done. How about another example? 2 1/3 plus 1 3/5. Let's line up our problem vertically, and we can add the whole numbers of 2 plus 1 equals 3. Now, looking at the proper fraction portion, we can see our denominators are not the same. So we're going to have to convert these to equivalent fractions with the same denominator. This is the exact same process we just went over in adding fractions with different denominators. If you missed that video, I'll put a link in the description for you. First, we find the multiples of 3 and 5, and then find the lowest common multiple, which will end up being our denominator. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15. 15 will be our denominator as it is a multiple of both 3 and 5. Let's rewrite our proper fraction portion into the equivalent fraction with a denominator of 15. Looking at 1/3, 3 goes into 15 5 times. So we multiply both the numerator and denominator by 5, and we get a new fraction of 5/15. We do the same for our second fraction, 3/5. 5 goes into 15 3 times, so we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 3, and we get a new equivalent fraction of 9/15. We can now write our mixed numbers as 2 5/15 plus 1 9/15. The first step is to add the whole numbers, which we said was 3. Next, we add the proper fraction pieces, which is now 5/15 plus 9/15, for a total of 14/15. So the original problem of 2 1/3 plus 1 3/5 is now equal to 3 14/15. Okay, let's look at another example. 4 3/4 plus 1 11/16. We set up our problem vertically, and we add our whole numbers first. 4 plus 1 equals 5. Next, we look at our proper fractions, and we can see we do not have the same denominator. However, 16 is a multiple of 4, so we can save some time by converting 3/4 into an equivalent fraction of some number over 16, so we have the same denominator. 4 goes into 16 4 times, so we multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 4, and we get an equivalent fraction of 12 over 16. We don't have to change the proper fraction portion of our other fraction because it's already stated with the same denominator. We can now add our proper fractions together of 12 over 16 plus 11 over 16, and we get 23 over 16. Well, now we have an improper fraction. We can't write our answer out as being 5 and 23 over 16 because that mixed number doesn't make sense. Mixed numbers are supposed to be written as whole numbers plus proper fractions, not improper fractions. So let's convert 23 over 16 to a mixed number. I want to write down my denominator first as being 16, and then how many times does 16 go into 23 evenly? Well, only one time. So we have a whole number of 1 with a remainder of 7 left. Our improper fraction of 23 over 16 is now a mixed number of 1 and 7/16. Since we now have a whole number in this portion of our answer, we would need to add that whole number of 1 to the 5 from our previous number, and we get a mixed number for a total of 6. Then our proper fraction portion is going to be 7/16. So 4 and 3/4 plus 1 and 11/16 is equal to 6 and 7/16. That was a lot of information to go over. Here are the highlights though. When adding mixed numbers, you can set it up vertically just like any other addition problem. Add the whole numbers first and then the proper fractions. You may need to convert your proper fractions into equivalent fractions by using common denominators. Once you have proper fractions with the same denominators, you can add those fractions together by simply adding the numerator and keeping the denominator the same. Simplify the answer if necessary. The best way to get good at this is just to practice. If you want some more practice, head on over to improvemath.com and snag a worksheet on adding mixed numbers. I always put answers on a separate sheet so you can check your work. All worksheets are free, but if you want to help me out, you can hit that like button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.